Hey, it's Icarice, and I'm here to tell you about Hotcast for Podcasting. We are a podcasting studio located in Las Vegas, Nevada, in the Hot 702.5 FM studios. You can book online at hot7025fm.com. Just click on Hotcast. You can book and find your times right there. Thank you for booking with Hotcast for Podcasting.
Y'all, it's your girl Cheryl Underwood, and you're tuned into the hottest news station on the planet, Hot 702.5.
What's going on, everybody? It's your main man, 360, the poet from the Morning Wood, and I'm here to talk to you about the Sci-Fi Center. It's your Vegas home for science fiction, horror, and fantasy. From comic books, toys, and posters to movie screenings and live events, they've got you covered. Located at 900 Cameron Avenue, Suite B209, give them a call, 702-900-4335, or reach them at thescificenter.com.
Hi. Hey. What's up?
All your favorite artists.
Check it out.
Say my name.
DJ Khaled.
This is Mila J.
Bruno Mars.
On hot7025fm.com.
Tune in now on hot7025fm.com.
Yeah. Jones, hey. Greg Deville was at it, man. Hey. If you want the real, holla at Greg Deville. He'll tell you how to do it. Now get to it. If you want the real, listen to Greg Deville. He'll tell you how to do it. Now get to it. I'm talking real estate, building wealth, making money for your family and yourself. Now tune in. We here to help. Now tune in. We here to help. You wanna be a broker, you wanna be broke. You wanna be the joker, you wanna be the joker. You gotta bring more to the table than your hope, dreams, and wishing. I can feed you fish or I can take you out fishing. I can show you the vision, addition and division, mathematic equation. Make the money flip like an acrobatic, amazing. Greg Deville help you build the foundation. I'm saying, if you want the real, holla at Greg Deville. He'll tell you how to do it. Now get to it. If you want the real, listen to Greg Deville. He'll tell you how to do it. Now get to it. I'm talking real estate, building wealth, making money for your family and yourself. Now tune in. We here to help. Now tune in. We here to help.
All right, Las Vegas, good afternoon. It's Wednesday, 12 o'clock. Greg Deville live in studio. Wealth and real estate. That's right. Wealth and real estate here at 702.5fm.com. This is what we do. This is what we talk about every week. We love to inspire, encourage, and get you motivated about home ownership and all that it entails with wealth, equity. I'm telling you, you have to leave something as a legacy. When people leave, so many times there's debt, there's assets, clothing, shoes, but no real estate sometimes. And so we want to kind of do away and break that cycle. We want to encourage many of you, let's get involved in having your own real estate. We have some no money down programs. We have some 401k programs. We have save your money programs. We have some you can get a gift from Uncle Willie programs, whomever, uncle, aunt, but there are some programs available. Interest rates, I know people have been asking about what are the interest rates, and they're high right now. But let me just say, when you pay rent, you're paying 100% interest rate, 100% with no return on your investment, no ROI. So if I can sell your home with a 7.25% interest rate versus you renting at 100%, when you get an ROI on your 7.25%, which would you rather? I think I heard you say 7.25%, because when you pay 100% with no return on your investment, that means when you move out in 5 years, guess what? All you have is that security deposit that you left in 5 years that you paid originally. It had no increase, no interest. It's right there. So in 5 years owning a home, your value very well may have gone up $40,000, $60,000, $80,000. So with that being said, why not get into involving yourself into having your own real estate? So I've taken the liberty today to speak to one of our preferred lenders. We work with about 9 lenders. One lender can't handle all the volume, right? So we share the love, right? We want to make sure that we have educated, well-informed, updated lenders who are very familiar with the market and what it offers. Many of you with that 401k, the opportunities are available. We understand this new administration has some challenges that are being posed to many of your 401ks. What I'm asking is that if you have 15, 20,000, minimal 10 could be used for your down payment, but that's only on a $300,000 home. But however, remember, $300,000 home is still your home. 400,000, 3.5%, somewhere near 12 to 14,000 as you go higher, right? So just first you want to get pre-approved. Then you find out how much money, or you can contact your 401k and see what do you have available. Because remember, when you purchase with a 401k, there is no penalty for you borrowing the funds from yourself. Now, if you use those funds for, let's say, your car or paying some bills, there's up to a 10% penalty, but not when purchasing a home. So it would behoove us to use our funds that we have set aside in the 401k. And listen, you merely need a 580 credit score. It means you paid some of your bills. Listen, we can get you in. You just got to contact 702-349-0162. Greg Deville, Deville Realty Group. Shout out to Team Deville. So excited about the team doing great things in the community. We're closing deals. People are getting keys, and that's what it's all about. We want to continue helping families. So the more you hear us, the more you get involved with having your own home. Now, when you contact the lender, maybe it's not right now, but it's never no. It's just not right now. What do you need to do? You need a strategy. You need a game plan. I like to call it, you need a prescription. What is it that I need to do to find out how to get better? Sometimes it's just dealing with your credit. Sometimes it's finding out what you owe and making an arrangement to get those things resolved. Sometimes it just matters paying your bills on time, those 30-day lates. And many of you now, you have a home, you have equity, but you can't touch the equity in the home. And some of you are falling behind in your mortgage payment. So if you're falling behind, guess what? You can't touch the equity in your home because many of those programs require 660 or better in your FICO score. So if you have $150,000, $200,000, you can't access it. Sometimes selling is the option. Now, what does that mean? It means you'll get another home, but you're drowning in debt. You're drowning. You're going under. And some of us going under fast. And so if that's the case, let's look at an alternative that we can use to get up out of what we're in. If you're behind in your mortgage 2, 3, you're going into your 4th month, the bank's not willing to work with you on a modification, selling may be the next option. It's okay. You won't be the first. You're not the last who've had to sell. But guess what? There's a light at the end of the tunnel, and there's a new day dawning. So what are you going to do? Well, we have our great guest, my friend, one of my preferred lenders, Mr. Joshua Igiliki Jr., and we want to welcome him. He is from YLM Mortgage, Your Legacy Matter Mortgage Financial. Good afternoon, Josh, man. I'm so glad you're back with us again. How you feeling, brother?
Hello. Good afternoon. I am feeling great. Glad to be here. How's it going?
Man, I'm excited. Today's show is talking about, getting motivated to move forward, right? In 2025. Yes, sir.
Yes, indeed.
Yes. So look, Josh, I know you're very sharp. You're knowledgeable. You're an attorney, which makes you exceptionally sharp, right? And now, when it comes to this interest rate right now, what do we everybody always want to know, where are the rates? Can you give me a FHA right now, first time buyer that you recently have seen the rate for? What does that look like?
Yeah, right now you're seeing rates between the 6 and 7%. It all depends on credit score, program, product, what have you. I know one of the great things that you are able to do with a lot of your buyers is when you negotiate those deals, you're able to get the seller to be willing to contribute towards those closing costs. And when that happens, now we're able to use some of those funds to buy the interest rate down even further. And now we're seeing some rates as nice as the high 5s when we have some of that seller contribution being included.
Okay. Seller contributions.
Yes, sir.
Okay, good deal. So now when I sit here like today, thank you. You just got me another approval letter. Ching, ching, right? This is what we do. They contact Deville. And then Deville sets him with Josh. Josh, in turn, does all the paperwork, get everything in order so that you can get what we like to call the pre-approval letter. Now, Josh is very good at getting the ducks in a row. Right. So, Josh, let me give you a shout out, man. I appreciate your business and the way you stay on top of it. I can't recall us dropping any deals, man. You are really, really sharp. And so I know you're not working with some of those DPA, like we like to call them, down payment programs, but you work well with our 401ks. You're great with our VAs. You just sent me a VA approval this morning, nearly $500,000. So shout out to Miss Mary and Mr. Ernest from the radio. Guess what? From the radio, man. We've been doing this 9 years, bro.
Yes.
Thank you, man. You and VA, I really, man, like when I hear people say VA, I've got a few VA lenders and you make one of the top shelf VA lenders, man. And so if we got people out there, man, listening, what are the rates right now with like Miss Mary and Mr. Hicks just got, what are rates looking like on our VA right now?
Well, the VA product, you're seeing rates very similar. You're going to be around 6.5%. Everything is credit score driven. The better the credit score, the better the rate that we can get you. One of the great things with the VA product is it allows for a lot of flexibility, even with borrowers whose credit scores may not be as high, and still being able to qualify them and getting them into a home. Now with the lower credit score, interest rate may be a little higher. So now you may be looking at 7 to 7.25% rate. But the great thing is you're getting into the home. We're able to get you into the home, get you pre-approved. And one of the great things that we like doing with our clients when we work with them is we don't look at this as a one transaction thing where we just get a deal done and get them in a home and move on. We like to get them into a home and then start thinking strategy. Like you mentioned, the name of our company is YLM Financial. Your legacy matters, and we really want to put them in a position to really be able to leave a legacy. So even if we were able to get someone pre-approved now and say their credit scores weren't great, and we had them at a 7.25% rate, then we would also continue to work with them for the next 6 months to a year as we improve credit scores, as things start to change, as the market starts to improve, and then be able to put them in potentially a position to refinance and now bring that rate down even lower as the situation has changed and as markets have improved.
Can we allow for, and I know you mentioned refinance. So right now, for a person who has equity in their home, refinancing may not be a great option for them at this time because they have a lower rate, right? They got this 3%, 4%. But when we talk about the HELOC, the home equity line of credit, I know I've been hearing a lot about the FICO score requirement for those programs. What is one of the less numbers you can give for a listener today that has this issue? What is the lowest FICO he can possibly get an approval? Because he has great equity, and if he could, kind of get access to it, what's that number like?
Yeah, for most lenders, when it comes to the home equity line of credit, the credit score that you're going to need, the minimum credit score is a 660. And at that 660 rates are going to be higher. When you're above that 700 threshold credit score, that's when you have a lot more options on the line of credit. But you're absolutely right. There are plenty of folks right now who are homeowners who were fortunate enough to buy back in the early 2020, 21, 22 time period, where rates were, anywhere between 2 and 4%. Right. And currently, as we mentioned, we're looking at rates in the 6 and 7%. So for that individual, the best alternative for them, if they do need to pull equity out of their home, is to use
Well, we lost signal there, but small technical difficulty. But as he was stating, the interest rate for 660 at this time is really what's going to be required in order to get the home equity line of credit. Now, if you have above that 660, 700, of course, and you want to use those funds, let's consider using the funds in your home equity line of credit towards something that will create a more residual income. Let's use our funds that will make money for us instead of sitting there in the house I meet people who have equity in their home. They're just looking to pay off their home. Well, paying off a home, you've got all this money in your home. How is it that is making money for you? So my job is to create residual income ideas to help push you to creating that. How do we do that? What does that look like? Well, here we go. So we're going to talk to Mr. Joshua, and just contact me, 702-349-0162. I'm going to set you with Mr. Joshua. Here's what's going to happen. Josh is going to get you pre-approved with the home equity line of credit. Now, based on, that interest rate is in the 7s, 6s, right? High 5s. But that's fine because you're going to let that money make money. So rather than pulling that $150,000 out of the house and going to pay cash for a car, truck, or van, guess what? Let's put it on a income property that has income enough to pay for the loan, right, on that mortgage, as well as give you a residual income, which in turn you could use if you just want a new car. So versus just buying another car using that home equity line of credit, let's use those funds for an investment that can also create equity, pay off that car, and pay the mortgage by simply using the equity in your house. I see, Josh, you're back. We're good, wonderful. So, Josh, you were stating that, yeah, you're right, that the lower rate a few years ago, 2%. But now, go ahead, finish where you were on getting that home equity line of credit.
Yeah, absolutely. So the home equity line of credit becomes the alternative so that you're able to maintain that lower interest rate on the primary mortgage, on what we call the first mortgage on the property, would act as a second mortgage, utilize the equity because property values have, in most situations, have gone up.
So, yeah, we're kind of running into that technical difficulty. And we really, Josh, can you hear me now? I see you pretty clear there. Okay, moving right along. So, understand.
Right. Are you,
okay.
Are you able to hear me okay?
Now you're good.
Okay, perfect. Yes, so the home equity line of credit becomes the great alternative to utilize because you're able to access that equity, but also you're able to retain the low interest rate you have on that first mortgage. With that home equity line of credit, it operates similar to a credit card. So you're able to utilize the funds when you need it. If you don't need the funds, you can either pay it back or just not access all of the funds on that line of credit. And you only pay on a month-to-month basis based on the amount that you actually utilize. So it gives you a lot of financial flexibility to have access to funds as needed, but only make payments on the funds when you actually use it.
That's wonderful, man, because again, as I'm always telling people to let our interest or our equity make money for us, right? So versus paying off a home, I hear a lot of my seniors, they focus on paying off a home versus seeing how I can create a residual income from what I have in my home, right? And that's always been a big push for me because I feel like my equity should make money for me, right? Versus sitting in a house, just sitting there and I'm not making any money with it, although it's growing because the values of home goes up, right? Every time a home sells, you want that neighbor to sell his home for $500,000 and you owe $350,000. You want it to sell because that increased your value. He's the same home you have. Now, that increases your value means what? You have more equity now. Now, if you want to touch the equity, let it multiply, let's do that. Let's consider that. I'll set you with Josh. Call us, contact us direct. You can ask Google for Greg Deville. He knows where I'm at. 702-349-01. Yes, sir. Josh, give him your number, man. So someone just want to reach out directly, say, I heard you on the radio. We knows where that lead came from. So give him your contact direct number.
Yes, sir. To contact me at YLM Financial, you can find us online, ylmfinancial.com, or you can contact me directly, 725-215-1906, 725-215-1906. I'll be happy to answer any questions you have, take you through the preliminary pre-approval process, and we'll certainly be able to connect you directly with Greg Deville so that once we have you pre-approved, he can take you out shopping and find a home the exact property value that you're able to qualify for.
Absolutely. So, Josh, if we lose connection again, there's a phone number. I want you to just call in and let's finish because I want to talk a little about the living trust versus the living will. So if I lose you for whatever reason, just call in on that number that's on the screen. Would you do that for me? I know connection right
Yes,
now
sir,
is getting
absolutely.
a little challenging for us. Okay. Now, and so while I have you here, we know that getting a home, very important, very vital. I speak to it every week. Every Wednesday, I'm here at hot702.5fm.com. This is what we do. We educate the community for the last 9 years. This is where I've been. Not necessarily this station. I don't know if it's been here 9 years, but I've been radio. Been here 3 years. 3 years here. They've been 4 years here. My engineer's pointing fingers at me. They've been 7 years here. Wonderful. Good stuff. All right. 7 years. Go for it. Coming up on 8. New beginning. So listen, we want to continue to help encourage families, inspire families, motivate families, husband and wives. Now, let me say this, Josh. What I've been seeing also is families together going in on a loan. Let's talk about that because we grew up brothers and sisters living together. Why can't we while we're an adult, right? I mean, kids play together all the time anyway, right? So can we talk about, let's get family members, friends, partners, lovers to go in on a mortgage. Have you been seeing a lot of that lately?
Yeah. I mean, it's about being strategic and being savvy, right? You mentioned earlier that it's not a no. It's not a no. It's a not right now. And
Yeah.
sometimes part of the not right now is figuring out a game plan and a strategy to make it happen. And sometimes it requires joining forces with family members to make it happen. If there's a home that you want, but the finances or the income that you're currently making by yourself doesn't suffice, then being able to utilize a family member who's also in a similar situation looking to purchase a home may be a good avenue to start with. And now you create that appreciation and the leverage in that home. And it doesn't mean that you have to stay in the home together forever. You know,
Right.
Maybe it's a great fit and you guys want to reside together for a while, but even if it's not the perfect fit and not the long-term fit, it's a start. And utilize that initial start to get into the home. And now, you know, a year from now, 2 years from now, whatever the case may be, we may be able to now leverage and now second home, the family's assets. So it's strategy and a good strategy to utilize when income may be a challenge to get into that home by yourself.
So we're going to put two family members together with a 401k. Come on, you guys. I just want to give you ideas. Two family members together using your 401k from different jobs, right? Let's go in. Let's together get a property because we're both paying rent and we're both paying high rent, you know, because we like to live in a nice place, but we can't afford where we rent to purchase. So we get in with someone, my best friend, right? Ladies, you know, you've been friends for years. You guys go in together and respectfully each other's space, right? I respect your space. You respect, and as you mentioned, 3-4 years from now, 3 Christmas trees, right? 3 Easter baskets, 3 Thanksgiving dinners, right? Let's visit the equity. Let's see what we are. We could use the equity. Remember, you want to keep that FICO. I believe you said, Josh, above a 660 to use a home equity line of credit. That correct?
Yes, sir. That's correct.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we want to be innovative in how we can make families begin to have, because here's what I'm also finding is a lot of landlords are beginning getting the idea to sell their homes. So if you're listening to Greg Deville and Josh Gillicky Jr. on the radio, we're talking about getting your own home. Miss Mary, Josh just gave me a $500,000 approval this morning. Guess what? They want to buy the home they're renting. The landlord mentioned he may consider selling. They heard me on radio. We got them over to Josh. They're VAs. Shout out to our veterans. They're able to. Now I'm waiting to speak to the seller. Let's talk about, are you considering selling the home? Yes. Well, what do you think you want to have? Well, how much do you want for the home? You know, and let him give the number. But remember, at the end of the day, it's based on the appraisal value. So a man could say he want $1 million. Appraisal may come in at $800,000. Guess what? The lender will approve the $800,000. Now, again, he can want whatever he wants. Appraisal is the determining factor of the real value. So keep in mind, you can get the pre-approval. Once you're pre-approved, like Mr. Ernest and Miss Hicks, they're pre-approved. But guess what? We're gonna ask the seller, what does he want? We're not gonna say what we approve. We're not gonna show our hand because he may want to try to max it out. And at the end of the day, what do you want, Mr. Seller? It may be a free and clear home to him, right? It may be free and clear. But on the other hand, he's willing to cash out. Many landlords in this market are considering cashing out. And so why not purchase? I don't know if Josh has been with me on this ride with selling homes to occupied renters, the home they're in. I've done at least 10 in the 3 years where they're purchasing the home. Get pre-approved, and then let's visit the landlord once you know you're pre-approved. If you're not pre-approved, as we've mentioned, it's never no, it's just not right now. But let's get you in position. Let's prepare you for what's to come. Can we do that? 702-349-0162. Greg Deville, Deville Realty Group, right here live on the radio, live on Facebook and social media platforms. Hot 702.5. This is what we do. Wealth and real estate. So, Josh, why are you still there? Okay, he's going to connect back on. Okay, look, at the end of time, we want to make sure we're using our time very wisely here. We're limited. The engineer gets to looking at me when I go over my time. She's like, bro, I'm going to cut you off. So don't let me get cut off. But I do want to say, so Josh, can you hear me well?
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
Okay, there you are. Good stuff. Listen, so I want to talk while we still have a few more minutes or so. I want to talk about the living trust versus the living will. Can you explain the difference for our listeners?
Yeah, absolutely. So I know most people are familiar with the will,
right,
and the meaning of a will and how to utilize a will, right? We document our wishes. We put it on a piece of paper. You can handwrite it on a napkin, whatever the case may be. You write it down and you say, this is what I want to have happen to my stuff when I pass away.
Right.
And now when you're no longer here to explain those details, that will is the document that people would utilize.
Right.
However, with that document would need to be taken down to the probate court, and the probate judge would need to review it, validate it, and determine if this is really your wishes. Now, mind you, you're not here to stand in front of the probate judge and say, yes, this is mine or whatnot, but the judge will have to make a determination. And once they determine that is in fact valid, then those items that you listed on the will and the beneficiaries, or I should say the people that you've identified to receive the benefit of your the items that you listed in the will, would then be able to receive those items. Now, probate is not free. Probate, whenever you're stepping into court, expenses are tied to it. And oftentimes that also includes attorneys and different things that need to take place to now be in that probate court to have your will reviewed. Most importantly, and not most importantly, but another important note is probate is public. So that means anybody who is interested in that situation would be able to go to the probate court and see everything that's going on, see everything that you've listed in your will, see everybody that you've named in the will, and see exactly who's receiving all of the items that you identified and named to be transferred to anybody. So it's a very public process. Now, the alternative to the will is the trust. So a trust is a contract, essentially. It's a contract that you enter that says, this is how I want my assets to transfer upon my death. This is where I want these assets to go. And that transfer is able to take place outside the purview of the probate court. So it's not public. You don't need to now go to the probate court and wait for a judge to make the decision. All of these transfers, all of these things can be done upon your desk. And that's the reason why the trust is in most situations, the best vehicle to utilize to transfer your assets upon your death. Oftentimes we see, especially Greg, I know you see this a lot as a real estate agent and a real estate broker, when someone passes away owning a home, and they may have family members who are already living in the home, or they may have family members who are aware that this home exists, and they believe that, okay, once this person has passed away, it's automatically going to come over to them. And it doesn't work that way. There's a long process. It's an expensive process. And now if you need the value of that home, let's say, for example, for your family to proceed to be able to do some of the things that you now want to do with that individual who's no longer alive around, you may need to sell that home. And you may go down and call a real estate broker like Greg Deville and say, hey, Greg, I need to sell my home. Not realizing Greg can't sell that home because you don't own that home to sell. And the individual who owns the home is no longer here. So now what do we need to do? Probate court. Whereas if that home was placed into a trust, that trust would be able to bypass the probate court, and the trust as an entity, as a legal entity, is able to sell that property directly to whomever the buyer may be, so long as the trustee who is named as the decision maker to oversee these type of decisions agrees to and signs off on that sale.
And you, as an attorney, Josh, you have actual access to getting the trust done, started, finished, and completed. Now, there are a couple different type of trusts, and I'd like you to take a few moments to talk about the revocable and the irrevocable trust. Give me something on that for someone who wants a little bit clarity while we have some time still left.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I would say to simplify it, I mean, there's a lot that goes into these different types of trusts, and that's where a consultation meeting would be very valuable to any of your listeners to explain. But a quick way to explain the difference between those two, a revocable and an irrevocable, is for the most part, we use the revocable trust to transfer assets.
Okay.
So essentially the discussion I just went over regarding having those assets transfer upon death and to leave your, say, for example, your home to a beneficiary, we utilize the revocable trust for those type of transfers to avoid a probate. The irrevocable trust is a type of trust that we use for asset protection. So now when the assets that you have while you're still alive are placed into this irrevocable trust, we can utilize that trust to prevent creditors who may be trying to come after you or come after your assets, to prevent them from being able to reach your assets. Say, for example, you were in a car accident and you were found liable for that car accident, and now the person who was injured in that car accident is going to hire an attorney, and that attorney is going to go and try to find all the assets that you have so that they can utilize those assets to pay that person back. The assets that were properly placed in an irrevocable trust would be protected in most cases from that lawsuit because it's placed into an asset protection trust. And that's how those asset protection trusts are really used. And when I say asset protection trust, the irrevocable trust, another name for it here in Nevada that we call is the Nevada Asset Protection Trust.
Okay.
We utilize those trusts to protect those assets. It's a product that many doctors and attorneys use quite a bit because the type of business that they're in makes them more susceptible to lawsuits that are tied to their own personal work. So they want to protect the assets and things that they've worked so hard for. They want to protect them from any creditors or any lawsuits or anything that may come about over time by placing those assets into an irrevocable trust.
So when we talk about you're an attorney, Josh, which law firm are you associated with?
I am associated with Young Law Group with Shane Young.
Shane Young,
we
correct.
do plenty of work. Yep, yes, sir. And I also do work with Silver Sage Law. That's where my estate planning work goes through, either Silver Sage Law or the Young Law Group.
Okay. And your contact phone number for someone listening today that wants to consider doing that. And is there a certain age that we should think about? Like, should we do it immediately? Or what have you been noticing? People wait to get of age and they don't think nothing's going to happen to them. So I got time. Speak to that for someone listening for us this afternoon.
Yeah, life comes at us fast.
Yeah.
And we never know what's around the corner.
Right.
We never know when it's our time to go. We all like to believe time and that we'll be around for many, many years. And that's the hope that we all have, that most of us have. But the reality is we never know. You know, you turn on the news and you'll see how things occur and life happens.
Right.
So the reality is, because we don't know when it is going to be our time, it's strongly recommended to plan, regardless of your age. Have some type of plan in place. Now, everybody's plan is going to be different. Everyone's plan may not include a will or a trust or whatever the case may be, but you need to have a plan in place.
Right.
And to obtain and determine what options you have and what type of plans are available to you, sitting down with an estate planning attorney to discuss those matters and address any concerns that you may have and really put together a plan is vital. It's vital. And I would say that needs to take place at any point in time, regardless of your age, 18 years old to our senior citizens.
Yeah.
Every single one of us, any adult needs to have some type of plan in place so that you know what would happen should something happen to you.
So when we talk about, and especially when you have assets, correct? You got assets. They want to know what to do with it, right? I have people who call me and they said, well, someone passed away and they own the house, and my mom or my dad or my grandparents, and I'm living there, I'm paying the mortgage. Well, the question is, have you contacted the mortgage company to say that that person has deceased, right? Because at the time of their demise, the bank it should be notified. You're paying the mortgage on something, and I've been seeing people paying mortgage to, as if the person is going to go in default. Well, I think with notification to the mortgage company for someone who's just having to deal with this is letting them know that the person, they're going to ask for a copy of the death certificate, right? They're not going to give you necessarily information unless you're on, the financing, right? But most people, if it's just that person on financing, what I'm seeing is you want to contact my team and let's set you up with the attorneys so that you can begin. If there's no living trust in place, in some cases there's a will. But as Josh mentioned earlier, even with having a will, it still doesn't negate the foreclosure or the probate procedure, which are many, many fees that are associated, title, escrow, realtors, appraisal, just, so many fees that are associated because we fail to get a living trust. Very, very, very important. People need to know what to do with your asset. Now, I've sold homes that were in a living trust. Very simple. He said he wanted it sold at the time of his demise, and we were able to put the home up, and then he wants the proceeds to either go to the grandchildren or a college fund. The orders of the attorney read out the living trust, and those were the wishes of the decedent. We were able to follow through. But again, I'm getting many calls where people are having to deal with the will. And they think because the will, they can just go right in, sell the house, not knowing at the end of the day, we've got a process here, and it may take 6 months to a year. Anything over a certain value, I understand. I've been hearing anything under 100 has been pretty simple. But when you go into the $400,000, $500,000, $800,000 asset, real estate, it's taking a little bit longer. We got a motion to court. So those are things. And Josh, I really appreciate you bringing clarity to people, man, and educating and all the education you've gone through to get where you are. I really rely on you for a lot of information. So, man, I thank you for taking time out of your busy Wednesday afternoon. I know you're a busy guy getting things done. And thank you, man, for getting that half a meal to me this morning. That was a blessing, brother. Beautiful to wake up to. Beautiful to wake up to, man. So we're actually going to work with them to buy the home they're in. So many of you that are listening today, you want to purchase the home that you're living in, simply contact my team, 702-349-0162. Let's get you set up with Josh. Let's get you set up because, again, if you're a VA, you're a veteran, we appreciate you. We want to take the opportunity to get you pre-approved and get you where you need to be. And Josh, real quick, talk to the person who's used their VA benefits before and they feel like they didn't know that they could use it again. What would you say to that?
The VA has programs and products that do allow you to have multiple VAs. Oftentimes you may be currently living in a home and you want to upgrade and purchase a new home. And if you're going to be selling that home and obtaining a new home, then that opens up your VA to the max capacity. Uh-huh. But occasionally you may want to buy another home and convert your existing home into an investment property,
right?
And now become an investor and now have multiple properties. there are even programs within the VA that would allow for you to do that. Now, there's certain calculations that we have to do to determine how much you have available to you for your second VA property.
Right. Okay.
But it's certainly something that we're able to do with each client and determine where and what is the amount that they would be able to qualify for an additional VA loan, and allow them to keep and retain their existing VA loan. So long as they paid their VA mortgage on time and they're in good standings with the VA, we would be able to certainly look and determine exactly how much you can qualify for if you wanted to purchase a new VA property and retain the existing VA loan that you have on your current home.
And even to the person, say you're renting right now, you're a veteran, but you've used your VA in the past and you lost that home, deed in lieu, foreclosure, short sale, you're still eligible. Am I saying this correctly, Josh? As a previous owner under the VA that you've used before, but you've sold that home and you currently do not have a home, you can, in many cases, reinstate your DD 214.
Yeah, no, it is case by case, depending on the disposition of that property that you previously had and what happened to that mortgage. The VA will allow for us to do what they call a search for a certificate of eligibility.
Okay.
And that certificate of eligibility, we obtain that from the VA directly, and that will indicate what the situation was and how the VA is currently viewing your existing situation and determine whether or not you're able to use your VA to acquire another property. And we can walk you through that process, help you get that certificate of eligibility, and explain to you what it means and what you are eligible to purchase moving forward.
So there is hope for the man or the woman who's lost their VA before, or a home or what have you. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a freight train. It's an approval in many cases. So we're excited to share that information that many of you, that's why we do the talk show, right? It's to educate and empower and inform and enlighten people to know what's available to them. And so I, again, thank you, Josh, for taking time on this Wednesday afternoon to share with my listeners great information, as usual, on the living trust, estate planning, as well as the lending product that's available, the credit FICO scores. So if you're out there today, you're listening, share this information. Maybe you have a home, but you have relatives who has a 401 or relatives who, are veterans. And then, Josh, the last thing I want to make mention as well, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I've sold homes to widows of veterans, and they were able to purchase homes under the DD 214 of the deceased veterans. So as long as they were married at the time of their demise, they've been able to purchase homes. And so that's been a wonderful thing as well.
Yeah, the VA does offer what they call surviving spousal benefits.
Yes.
Again, it's case by case. They have parameters that they look at for the qualification of spousal benefits. But if you are the spouse of a veteran who has passed away, you may be eligible to still purchase using the VA benefits that may have been left over to you as the spouse of the deceased.
And one of the requirements, there's several, I'm sure, is that you were married at the time of their demise, their death. You were married together. And what are a couple of the requirements that are needed?
You know what? I don't have a list of each of those requirements.
Okay.
It really is a VA internal decision.
Okay.
We approach the VA. We provide them an application and give them the information of the spouse. They then go back and review the service that the VA provided to the VA, or that the veteran provided to the VA.
Yeah.
And make a decision on those matters internally, and then let us know. And there is a process if they determine that you are not eligible. There is a process to even dispute that and try to get an approval after it's been initially denied. And we can help you walk through that process as well, as long as there's a good argument in regards to why you were denied eligibility and should have been given eligibility.
Okay. Great. Wonderful. So again, Josh Igiliki Jr., man, give us your phone number before we get out off this air show today.
Yes. Once again, my number is 725-215-1906, 725-215-1906. If you need any assistance with mortgage financing, be it a purchase or a refinance, whether it be a HELOC, or if you need some assistance with estate planning and really looking at where and how to plan should something happen to you, give me a call. I'd be more than happy to assist and get you in the right situation and take you down the right path to ensure that your legacy is secured.
Your legacy matters, Mr. Joshua Gillicky Jr. Thank you again this afternoon, man. You are what a wealth of knowledge. And again, thank you. Enjoy your day, and I'll talk with you. I'll get this buyer's RPA ready, signed, and executed over to you. Give me 72 hours.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you so much for your time, and I've always enjoyed being part of your show and great work that you're doing for our community and the service that you provide. This is all good information that you provide to our community every single week, and we appreciate you so very much for what you do.
Thank you, Josh. We'll talk to you soon.
All right.
All right. Good day. All right, Las Vegas. Well, the engineer's looking at me like I got to get out of here. Actually, I don't care where you go. You got to get out of here. So we're enjoying ourselves, sharing information, enlightening and empowering the community. Don't forget, residual income is great. It's wonderful. So while you're at work, your money's making money for you. And that's simply using the equity that's in your home. It's sitting there. Let it work. It works if you work it. 702-349-0162, 702-349-0162. Greg Deville, Deville Realty Group. I am the broker of the largest black-owned real estate firm in the state of Nevada, and I'm excited to share that. I've worked so hard to be right here, and I want to continue to be here, but with your support, it's definitely needed. If you have a friend, we appreciate any referrals, helping your families, your brothers, your sisters, your frenemies come to the next level into wealth, home ownership, creating wealth through equity. Very important, sharing information with one another. And don't forget, those of you that are friends and family, you can't afford a mortgage alone, but together the two of you can purchase a home and, again, get a 4-bedroom home. I had some 3 seniors come together. They were all on fixed income, but together they were able to purchase a 4-bedroom home. And guess what? They live there just fine. And sometimes that might be the better way because you seem to rent homes and the landlords tend to sell them. That's why many are going to apartments, because it's a little more stable. Because homes, a landlord can have an itch and wake up and say, I'm going to scratch it. I'm selling the house today. And what are you going to do? Unless an investor buys that home, they have to honor the contract. Even if the seller can't sell, if you're in a lease, let me say that. So if you're in a lease, he has to honor the lease until the expiration date. Much like you have to honor, so does the landlord. So it works both ways. He can't. But if your lease is expiring soon, you may be on the table of him considering. Or if you're paying really, really low rent, they may not want to renew your lease. But let's take the opportunity, veterans, conventional buyers, FHA first-time buyers. Let's get you, even if you just get a townhome, at least you own it. Your mortgage isn't late until after the 15th of each month. You have up until to the 30th of the month to pay it with a small late fee, but it doesn't report until the 1st of next month. So remember, you have some leverage in there when you have a mortgage. So the benefit of mortgage versus renting is nobody could put you out by the 5th of the month, right? You have up to 4 months. Even if you're in default right now, we could do what we like to call a pre-foreclosure sale. We can sell your home, save your equity. So if you know someone dealing with that matter right now and their equity is being jeopardized and, losing that home is right now actively possible, have them reach out to me. I'd love to help. No upfront costs working with Team Deville, free buyer representation, sellers. We negotiate with you on the commissions. So again, I'm here to help. Deville Realty Group, contact information 702-349-0162. Until I talk to you next Wednesday here at Hot 702.5, 12 o'clock every Wednesday. Until then, may God's best be yours. Yeah. Take care.
Yeah. Jones, hey, Greg Deville was at it, man. Hey, if you want the real, holla at Greg Deville. He'll tell you how to do it. Now get to it. If you want the real, listen to Greg Deville. He'll tell you how to do it. Now get to it. I'm talking real real estate, building wealth, making money for your family and yourself. Now tune in, we here to help. Now tune in, we here to help. You wanna be a broker, you wanna be broke. You wanna be the joker, you wanna be the joker. You gotta bring more to the table than your hope, dreams and wishing. I can feed you fish or I can take you out fishing. I can show you the vision, addition and division, mathematic equation. Make the money flip like an acrobatic, amazing. Greg Deville help you build the foundation. I'm saying, if you want the real, holla at Greg Deville. He'll tell you how to do it. Now get to it. If you want the real, listen to Greg Deville. He'll tell you how to do it. Now get to it. I'm talking real estate, building wealth, making money for your family and yourself. Now tune in. We here to help. Now tune in.